With more than 8,000 animals coming through the doors every year, the Joplin Humane Society continues to care for the homeless pet population in the area. Joining me today is Lex Evelhawk, and she's the volunteer coordinator and outreach coordinator for the Humane Society. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So start with, how many animals are in the shelter right now?
Yeah, so right now we have about 600 animals in our care, and that includes the ones that we have out in our foster program. So we have about 400 in the building.
Okay. And how many can be housed in the building at one time?
You know, that's a really good question that I actually don't know that answer to.
Well, and it just came to me. I'm thinking it's a big place, but it's probably crowded.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And we are definitely full. Right now, we're struggling accepting new animals into the building. We're trying to get them out as quickly as possible, but unfortunately, the last couple of months, adoptions haven't been at the best as what they normally are. So we have done we had a freebie Friday. We just had a $25 all animals. And now we're back to $25 for adults and $60 for puppies and kittens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And about how many do you average each month?
So we have 500 on average, between some coming in and then some getting adopted and those long-term residents. But we have 450 new animals brought in every month.
Okay. And how many get adopted out every month?
So from January to July, we did 1,113 adoptions. Wow. So that averages out to be about 200 animals adopted a month.
So you're always getting in more?
Yes. Yes. Between owner surrenders and strays, it's just a nonstop revolving door.
And did the numbers drop off, or did they increase during the pandemic?
So they did increase during the pandemic. We ran the numbers, and we're actually, from this time last year to this time last year, we're down 300 animals, which is good, even though it doesn't feel like it.
Right. So 300 fewer being housed throughout the year?
Yeah, currently than we were last year.
And we were talking earlier, I had asked about this being a no-kill shelter. Is Joplin a no-kill shelter?
So we don't like to use the term no-kill, because no-kill in a lot of people's minds is no matter what the situation is, you don't euthanize. So the Joplin Humane Society, our numbers are low enough to be considered no-kill, but again, we don't like to use that term. If an animal comes in and they are just medically suffering and there's nothing that we can do, we're not gonna, that's not fair to the animal. So euthanasia in that case is the best case for the animal.
But when you're just full, you find other refuges, or?
Yeah, so we are no-kill to that sense. So as long as the animals are staying mentally, physically, and emotionally healthy, they will stay at the Humane Society as long as it takes them to get adopted. So we don't euthanize due to overcrowding. Right. We do have several rescues that we work with for cats and dogs that we're trying to work with to get them out, but it's been an all-around problem for all of the shelters right now. Everybody is just really full.
Okay. And is that economic conditions? Do they have a cause?
You know, I'm really not sure. I know we get a lot of owner surrenders, which it's sad because really the humane societies and shelters in the area should be your last resort, not your first go-to, and I feel like that's what's kind of happening.
People think that it's just easier
to find a shelter and put them in a shelter because we'll find a home for them, versus trying on their own to either make what's going on work or finding someone that they personally know that would take good care of them.
So talk about your volunteer situation. I know a lot of industries around the nation are having trouble finding employees.
Yeah.
How does that translate for volunteers?
Yeah, so volunteering, I feel like right now is kind of harder, especially since you're donating your time and energy. Our current volunteers that we have right now, our active volunteers, have been a tremendous support. Our volunteer hours have actually gone up throughout the summer. We were averaging about 500 and now we're 700, which is great. That's actually a really good increase. But I will say our recruitment numbers have dropped. We have 2 more orientations for this month, and they are maxed out. We have 20 new volunteers coming in tonight, actually. Wow. And then we have 18 for Saturday. So hopefully with summer ending and students coming back to go to school, hopefully those numbers stay up.
And what do volunteers do for the shelter?
So our most popular volunteer opportunities is our dog walking and our cat companion. So dog walking, especially right now with us being so crowded, it is a really stressful environment for the animals to be in. So just having that time spent outside of the shelter is really beneficial. And then that one-on-one affection that cats can get. But we have everything from dog walking to our spay and neuter checkout team, which is doing some front desk stuff, taking payments, things like that. And then we have our play yard rotation team and our 2 committees, our scared kitty committee and our stressed and depressed dog committee.
And what are those for?
So those are animals, titles kind of speak for themselves, but like dogs that are stressed out or scared, they get put onto a list, and then volunteers who have done the training and have gone through the orientation will come in to work with those animals specifically.
Okay.
So those are the ones that we're trying to avoid having to go through the kennel crazy or kennel depression. And then our scared, we have several cats that come in and they're just really scared, so they like to hide. Well, when you're walking through looking at all the cats to adopt, you're not going to see the one that's hiding in the corner under the blanket. So we'll have volunteers come in to work with them to get them more comfortable, more confident, and then they'll start coming up to the front of the kennel and they'll get adopted.
And what's kennel crazy?
Kennel crazy. So because the environment is so stressful, kennel crazy, you can take a happy-go-lucky dog that comes in perfectly fine, and then the longer and longer and longer they're there, they start to have behavioral issues, whether it's jumping up on the cage door, barking, like that nonstop screaming barking. They'll spin in circles in the kennel. So there's kind of those behaviors that we look out for, and volunteers will come in to try to bring them out of that.
I got you. Do you ever have to use medication for those type of animals?
That's a good question that I don't know the answer to. I personally haven't seen any of our animals get to that point. Again, our volunteers do an amazing job coming in to work with those animals. We do have our priority pups. So those are your animals that are the higher energy, that are more likely to develop that kennel.
Right.
That kennel stress. So volunteers will come in to walk those dogs specifically on a daily basis to avoid getting to that point. So.
And do they walk them at the facility, or do they take them to like a dog park? Or?
Yeah, so actually they can do both. So we have a walking trail at the back of our property, and then we have our play yards. So they can actually put them in the play yards, pull off the leash, and they're able to just run around, be dogs, play. We have swimming pools out there that they can play in.
Oh, good.
And then we have our walking trail, and then they're actually able to sign the dog out, and they can take them. We have volunteers that come in that'll take them for hikes and take them to the local walking trails and parks and things like that. They go down to Sonic all the time to get pup cups.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And talk about how much it costs to run this facility. I mean, you need donations all of the time.
Yes, all of the time. We are very active on our Facebook page. We have a very great support from our Facebook community. So a lot of our donations come in through the mail from Facebook, actually. We'll get Kitten Chow, Dog Chow, formula, treats, toys, and then of course we have our fundraising through Facebook itself.
I hate to use the word suckered in, but I mean, every time I see one of those sad dogs, or any dog really, that just looks, I don't want them to be in cages, so I just click on that button. It's easy to.
And I feel like the community really doesn't know, when we post that they're going to rescue and things like that, that's where your donation really comes into hand, because we have to put in all of the medical for them. So all of our animals are fixed, microchipped, and up to date on age-appropriate vaccinations. And if they're old dogs, if they're old enough for a heartworm test, we heartworm test them. So that's all of the expenses. And our rescues, we don't have them pay for that, because they're doing us a favor taking the dog. So that's money we kind of lose out on. So those sponsorships are really important.
That's great. And the Fur Ball is one of the big fundraisers.
That's our biggest
for the year. And
yes.
Was it canceled last year?
So in person, it was. We were not able to host it in person, but we were able to have our
virtual?
Yeah, our virtual. We had an auction, our silent auction, we were able to host online. So from that, we were able to raise about $50,000. Which is still great. And we were able to save on expenses from hosting it in person, like the venue and donation or decorations and things like that. But normally it's about a 75 to an 80 grand. So we did take a little bit of a hit.
And is it back on this year in
person?
It is,
yes, it is. We are planning it. We have our furball committees working really hard trying to bring in those donation items for the silent auction. And so September is going to come rolling around.
Yeah,
Everyone's really excited.
Not too far away.
Yeah.
And you were talking about social media. Do the donations that come in on Facebook, are those way more than just what they normally would be?
So it's hit and miss. We do have a ton of people that'll come in and donate in person to the shelter, but I feel like especially this day and age, it's a lot easier to see, like you said, see that sad dog that needs to go to rescue and just be able to click the button. So we do get several donations through Facebook.
Do you have a social media person that organizes those posts, or
yeah, so it's kind of a group effort through all of the front desk staff. Connie Andrews, the director, Tiana Fisher, the shelter manager, and then Kelly Cruzan and Dana are all, and then me. We all kind of pitch in to do it together. Kelly is very on top of it for sure. She deserves that credit. Yeah.
It always takes a village.
It does.
Pretty much.
It does, especially with the way the shelter is right now. You walk in and you don't know what's going to happen throughout the day.
Yeah.
So.
And you were talking about a couple of the long-term residents of the facility that just got adopted.
Yes. So we had Jeff. He was the longest resident for our cat. He was getting adopted as I was walking out the door to come here. And then we have Harry. He is a pit bull, a black pit bull. He has been at the shelter for about 118 days. He got adopted this morning, and so now Lucky is our longest resident at, again, 118 days. So he's still there. And
you said that sometimes animals will come in with, was Lucky the one with the heartworms? And
yes.
You treated that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So Lucky came in. Lucky's about 2 years old. He came into the shelter. He was heartworm positive. So there's kind of two ways you can treat heartworms. You can keep them on a monthly preventative, which will kill the babies, but it won't do anything to the adults that are already taking effect on the heart. Or you can put them through heartworm treatment. The heartworm treatment is really hard on the body, especially on the heart. So we thought Lucky, with him being as young as he is, he would be able to go through it, which he did. And now you look at him, you can't even tell. But he is now heartworm negative.
That's awesome.
However, it is in his best interest to stay on heartworm preventatives just in case he was to get bit by a mosquito again. So.
And what agencies do you all partner with, or do you have businesses that donate?
Yeah, so we have several local companies or businesses that we work with for fundraising. A big one is Blue Buffalo. We work with Freeman Healthcare.
Too many to name.
Yeah, too many to name. And then of course we have our smaller local businesses, and then again Facebook fundraising. That's a huge one.
And what other events are coming up?
We have our big poker run coming up at the end of the month. So a volunteer, Mike Peer, has actually donated the winning hand of 1,000 and the worst hand of 250. So you can register for that online at joplinhumane.org. But all of those proceeds come right back to us. So we're really hoping that's going to be a successful event.
Well, good.
Hey, I'm Nancy.
And I'm Scott here at Cycle Connection.
We are excited to announce the Show and the Love Poker Run scheduled for Saturday, July 31st. It's for a great cause, our furry friends at the Joplin Humane Society.
The event starts at the Joplin Humane Society at 9 a.m. and has 5 poker stops.
Scott, the winning hand will win $1,000 and the worst hand is $250.
Wow. And all bikes are welcome and cars.
So let's all help our furry friends on Saturday, July 31st.
Can people just go to the website and find ways to help and donate?
Yeah, there's anywhere from sponsoring a dog to sponsoring a kennel. You can sign up for the poker run and be part of the poker run. You don't have to have a motorcycle. They call it cars, they call cages. So all bikes and cages are welcome.
There you go.
And then honestly, volunteering. If you can't donate, volunteering would be a tremendous way to help right now.
Okay. And talk about the other services that you all offer. I was looking at the website. There was cremation services, Andy's paw prints. What is that about?
Yeah, so our Paws to Heaven, which is our cremation services, it's not something that we really broadcast right now.
Sure.
It's more of by word of mouth, but we try to be as low cost as possible. So we are able to do cremations. We're not able to public euthanize, so that would have to be done by a vet. But then you can tell the vet that you would like the Joplin Humane Society to take care of the afterlife care. I'm not exactly sure on the prices. I just know if they weigh 125 or less, or if they weigh 50 pounds and less, it's 125. And that comes, all cremations come with a certificate, this really adorable Paws to Heaven rainbow poem. It's beautiful. And then this gorgeous box to keep the ashes in if you would like. And then we have the Andy's Paw Prints. So they do animal portraits, and a percentage of their costs come back to us. So that's a really great way to help too. And plus you get a cute little portrait of your fur baby.
There you go. And I saw that Amazon Smile. People can also do, like when they order Amazon purchases.
So that's actually something that I didn't even know about. So Amazon Smile is just like Amazon. So you can't even tell the difference. But if you go to smile.amazon, yes, it is, you can pick your charity, and then anything you buy, just your normal shopping, a percentage of that goes to us, which is great because you're already on Amazon shopping anyways. So why not shop smile.amazon?
Yeah, and they can do that, set that up through their Prime accounts, right?
Yes, I think so, yes.
And do you know what numbers, well, I guess it'd probably be hard to tell how much is raised that way.
Yeah, and I am not exactly sure. I know in passing, the director told me that if more people were to do it, it could be a big benefit.
Yeah, so get the word out on that one.
Yes.
And so what other things can people do to help? You said donations of food and toys.
Yeah, so of course, the more that we can get donated, the less that we have to pull out of our costs. So food, Kitten Chow, that is a big one. I cannot tell you how many times I hear we're running out of Kitten Chow. Right now we have, over 200 in foster care, and majority of those are kittens.
Wow.
And they go through it fast. I have 12 foster kittens myself, and I was going through a 13-pound bag a week.
Oh, wow.
So Kitten Chow, we are trying to get the smaller bags of cat litter donated, so that way that's not a cost that fosters are having to pay out of pocket. So those small bags at the dollar store or Walmart would be really helpful. Formula, we get a lot of newborns that come into the shelter that fosters have to bottle feed.
Oh.
So
cats
formula,
and dogs?
Cats and dogs.
Okay.
Yep. A lot of people don't know, if you see kittens, let's say, for example, on the side of the road, your first instinct is to, oh no, let me save these kittens.
Right.
But if they're healthy kittens and there's nothing medically wrong with them, the mom is most likely just out hunting for food. So people trying to be helpful will pick them up and, oh, let me take them to the shelter. But now we have kittens that don't have mom to care for. So we try to post on Facebook, if you see kittens and they're happy, healthy, they're fine, leave them. Mom will come back for them. And you can always go back and check on them. I think the time frame is 6 hours. Give it 6 hours.
Okay.
And, if they're still there and they look like they haven't eaten, then something could have happened to mom. So then at that point, intervene, but give mom a chance to come back.
Yeah, my daughter-in-law has several cats in her neighborhood that come up on her porch, and I think she wants to take care of them, and I think she's started feeding one of them, but then that brings more.
Yep.
Can people bring animals like that and have them spayed or neutered?
Yes. So I'm so glad
you cat program?
Yes, so I'm so glad you brought that up. So the amount of outdoor cats in the area, in the Joplin area, is crazy. When I first moved down here, again, I had the same thought, oh gosh, it's a lost cat, let me pick it up. But no, the Joplin area is so overpopulated with cats, they like to be outdoors. So the best thing to do is to get them fixed. So we have our low-cost spay and neuter program. It's $35 for a cat, $50 for dogs, no matter the weight, size, female, male, it's all the same. And then we do require a $10 deposit, which will go towards your bill at surgery. So you can book that online. And then if it is a feral cat, like one you cannot touch, we do have our feral cat program. Jimmy Power and Martha are the ones that run that. But it costs the same. So.
Sure. And how do people go about doing that? Try to catch the cat, or can they get help with catching them?
Yeah, so the Humane Society will let you rent out the cat cages that catches
Okay.
them. It's a $50 deposit that you get back as long as you bring it back in the same condition you took it as. So they're able to use them that way, catch them, get them fixed, and then you take them back home and you release them. Or you can reach out to Jimmy Power on Facebook to see if, I know he's trying to work on, he does like one town or one community and then he moves on to the next one. So
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure where he's at on that.
Okay. And is there anything else people can do to help out other than donate?
Donate, foster. We
What
still
does
need
that-
several fosters.
What does that require? I mean, because I would feel like if I bring an animal home, the animal's expecting that this is their home.
That this is going to be their forever home. So, you know, I wish I knew exactly what was going through an animal's mind because I've struggled with that myself.
It's hard.
It is very hard. The biggest thing is to keep in mind that you are fostering. So unless you're fostering with the intent to adopt, my best piece of advice is to know not to get attached.
Sure.
To not put
That's
yourself.
hard.
And it is so hard. It's not to put yourself in that mindset. I will tell you just from personal experience, when you foster one, it's a lot easier to get attached than if you were to foster a whole litter because
Sure.
there's almost too many. Like you can't individually get attached to each and every single one. So with that, fosters only have to provide their home and their love. We'll provide the medical costs, all of the supplies, and then anything else they shall need. So really fostering is a really great way to help, especially if you may not be able to have your own animal, but you can foster, so you still get that love and affection of having an animal, and you can keep going.
Do you think that people who say renters, they're not allowed to own a cat, but they could possibly still foster?
You know,
there's ways around that.
I feel like there could be. So that is one thing. If you do foster and you rent, we do have to make sure the landlord is aware of the situation. So that is a good way to talk to your landlord and be like, hey, I know you don't want me to have one, but could I foster?
Sure.
It's kind of works the same way as our adoption process. If you rent, we do have to have an okay from your landlord before finishing out the adoption process. So.
And that could also pave the way for somebody who wants to keep a cat or a dog, and the landlord could come and check. It's not tearing things up, so might get them a little more into allowing it.
Yeah, that would be great. I feel like personally, just looking on, Zillow, a lot of the landlords don't allow their renters to have animals, which I totally get from a landlord's perspective, but it really sucks. Really sucks when you already have them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on and talking
again,
to us. And
thank you for having me.
And you can go to joplinhumane.org and find ways to volunteer and donate. And I want to thank Lex Evelhawk for joining us today. This is Newsmakers on KGCS TV from the Ruth Copeland Studios here at Missouri Southern State University. And I'm Bobby Potroff. We'll see you again soon.
Welcome to this month's Nature's Calling. I'm Lucas Bond with the Missouri Department of Conservation. There are numerous waterways throughout the state for everyone to enjoy. From the Gasconade to the Big Piney, floating Missouri streams is a great way to get outside and discover nature. To make the most of your float, you want to be properly prepared. To get started, you'll need a canoe, a kayak, or raft, which you can rent from many outfitters throughout the state. Or you can purchase one. Make sure you have a life jacket and don't forget a trash bag. While floating, you will want to wear a swimming suit, old tennis shoes, or water shoes. Plus, don't forget to pack other essentials such as sunscreen, a safety kit, food, and water. Wondering where to go? Check out the Missouri Department of Conservation's updated Paddler's Guide to Missouri. Once you're through floating, why not trade your paddle in for one of these and give bow fishing a try? Derived from archery, bow fishing is using a bow with an arrow tied to a string and a reel. Once a fish is stuck with an arrow, barbs hold on to the catch so you can retrieve it.
One of the things to keep in mind when you are bow fishing is that it is a catch and keep sport, so we encourage folks to utilize the fish that you're catching when you're doing the bow fishing.
Bow fishers target non-game fish such as carp, gar, and drum, and buffalo. Bow fishing is usually done from a boat, but you can also walk along the shoreline in shallow water and have great luck as well. Once you're through bow fishing, why not pick up a pair of binoculars and head out on the Great Missouri Birding Trail to see what birds you can find. The Missouri Department of Conservation encourages all beginner and seasoned birders to discover nature by exploring some of the best places to birdwatch around Missouri. The best birdwatching locations can be found online at greatmissouribirdingtrail.com. This online map will show you some of the best places to birdwatch around the state. If you can't get out on the trail, just go outside in your backyard and look to the skies, because you'll be surprised on what you may see. Not to alarm you though, but birds are declining in North America due to several factors, which include habitat loss and degradation.
A recent study quantified the net loss of birds since 1970. It found a loss of 2.9 billion birds, or about 29% of our North American birds since that time. The ornithological community is scrambling to figure out the reasons why, but birds, especially migratory birds, face a ton of threats throughout their lives and in their lifetimes. And there are things that everyday people can do today to help slow these declines.
For those interested, Kendrick recommends 7 simple steps to follow to help bird decline. Those include: help prevent window collisions, plant native plants, shrubs, and trees, avoid pesticides, buy bird-friendly coffee, keep cats indoors, reduce plastics, and report bird sightings. You can learn more about bird decline and how to help on 3billionbirds.org. For more information on floating, bow fishing, and birding, visit mdc.mo.gov. Thanks for watching, and remember, nature's calling. Get out and enjoy Missouri's outdoors.